cutting table. This one's gonna have dragons and cats and a cauldron and sword breaking a tiara. This particular bag is from one of my customers who wanted it based off of a book that was a favorite when they were young. And the yelling is Raven, as usual, howling in despair that nobody is paying attention to her at the moment. Eventually she'll end up in my lap, because that's what she does. Yep, there she is. Hi, Raven. She's always very vocal about all this. Poor kitty. So sad. Can you sit down so we don't get the scalpel anywhere close to you, Raven? Or can I cut out some feet here? Shop will be on vacation while I am on vacation here shortly, which I am very much looking forward to. I need a break. So say we all, right? Get this taped. Also did a little bit of a redo in this workshop this past week, which was really fun. Made a new ironing and cutting board station up here with cubbies underneath so I can store up some of my vinyl, which is nice. Spent today putting bubble wrap inside my greenhouse, because that is apparently how you insulate a greenhouse. It's going to get wicked cold tonight. Hopefully my little greenhouse heater will be able to take care of my seedlings. And if not, well, next year I'll try a different kind of bubble wrap. I really like doing these dragon bags. They're always a lot of fun. Because I have this great vinyl. Has this really cool kind of holographic effect. If you look closer, there's scales imprinted on all of it, which makes the dragons really fun. They're really pretty, and I have a ton of colors because I bought a bunch when they were in stock. A lot of them, unfortunately, have been discontinued. So, a lot of my colors, I'm kind of like limited to what I have on hand, because I haven't seen them at any other place. This particular dragon scales came from My Punk Broidery. It's really my favorite place to get vinyl from, because they're super fast for shipping and super good about keeping really interesting stuff in stock. I'm kind of going to go over these tail spikes at the very end and make it smooth, just because it's very, very hard to cut out that small of a detail on what is not a huge dragon scale wise. We'll put them on the ridge here on the back. This particular dragon was described as being green to me, so green is the color this dragon is going to be. I like doing literary books. It's really fun. Books are one of those things that mean a lot to a lot of people, me included. I have my favorites. Before I started the stream, I was listening to Seanan McGuire's Encrypted series, catching up on that so that I remember things before I read the newest book. I really like it. It's one of her series that I enjoy. I also like Tobey Maguire. Well, October Tobey Maguire. October Day. Why was I thinking? I was thinking Toby, I guess. I don't know. It's been a long day. We'll blame it on that and go with it. I think one of my fabric groups is going to do an interesting fabric coming up. It might be have like cryptid mermaids kind of, which is incredibly exciting. Okay, so this one has a little bit of a different wing shape to it, and I'm not sure I'm totally cool with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the back shape, and then we're kind of wing the wings. Very funny, I know. I'm hilarious. But what I'm going to do is transfer some of these spikes that we have on the table. I'm going to make them just a hair more pronounced on parts of the neck. So that means kind of just making it up as we go along a little bit. There we go. Then we have really pretty spikes here on the back. They're a little more not so uniform. So I like to cut things out in several pieces because just a general outline shape sometimes is not very interesting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of cut off this part of the head. And I will do the facial portion on a different set of cuts. Just like the wings will be different. They kind of look really weird when I cut them out like this. And that's okay because it all kind of comes together at the end. It's like putting together a puzzle. That's a lot of what applique and reverse applique is. It's puzzling it out until you get something that looks really neat. So I kind of did the original cut on the feet a little smooth. So what I'm going to do after I get this thing out of here, out of the original piece, is I'm going to add a little bit more detail to the feet. Just so it looks like there's a little more like talons to this. Hi Jedi. Yeah, today was less wild. It's just a long day. It's just one of those days that seems to drag on and on and on. Felt like a very Monday kind of Friday. It is Friday, right? I think it is. Never know what day it is. Hazards of being a stay-at-home mom. Of course, this was like, I never knew what day it was before the pandemic, but I guess everybody kind of knows how I feel now. Nobody knows what day it is. Time is a concept. Alright. Get this guy out of here. Come on. There we go. This is actually supposed to be a female dragon. Right? It doesn't even seem real. It's been so long. Everything just takes forever. I never know what day it is. Alright, so I'm going to get this main piece out and then I will do the fussy cutting here on the little bits and spikes and things like that. Because it's easier to manipulate the pieces sometimes when they're like not on the main piece. But I should have plenty left. Yeah, no piñatas, but we did have a happy birthday. Thank you for asking, Jedi. We had birthday cake, and I made sugar-free brownies, and kids had fun. I got little glow-in-the-dark wands and stuff. We had nachos with that horrible fake stadium cheese, and I love it so much. I like to think of myself as kind of like a foodie sometimes, but then I'm like, but no. Because I love like orange drink and fake cheese for my nachos. Maybe that makes me a fake foodie, but will sure eat the heck out of some good food, but I can't quite give up the junk food either. True facts about me. I absolutely love orange drink. It's like my favorite thing. I mean, you know, I try to fool myself by buying things like Powerade or something like that, and it's just grown-up Kool-Aid. It really is, and I don't feel bad about saying that, or that I love it. I don't know. The regular Hi-C orange drink, though, is very nostalgic. Oh, there you go. Authentic nachos. There you go. Thanks, Jedi. That's the natural way to have nachos. It's natural to have that horrible, horrible orange cheese. It really is one of my favorite things, though. I'm sure there's ways to make, like, foodie cheese sauce, but outside of bechamel for, like, mac and cheese, I don't usually bother. I do make the Homer Simpson noise sometimes when I really, really like what I'm eating. I love food. Good food, that is. Alright, come on. This one's not wanting to move out, so I'm gonna have to... There we go. Just have to get the right angle on it. Sometimes they get pretty fussy with wanting to come out the right way. There we go. We got a dragon with this little spikes going on there. This is one of the vinyls that I can't pull too hard on because it will just tear. Especially on these little pieces like this. Sometimes I can get it and sometimes I can't. Because you don't want the ends to curl up. It tends to make much harder to sew down, and sometimes the presser foot, which is part of the sewing machine that holds the material down, can make it curl up and wrinkle, and then you get a really not nice sewing line when you're done. It can be annoying. So I do my best to try and not stretch the vinyl. There's tricks to working with this like there's any other material. Sometimes you just gotta know the base material you're working on and what it'll tolerate too. I'm okay with eating junk food when I can. I don't make a habit of it, but if I'm gonna have nachos, they're gonna have orange cheese. I regret nothing. Audible had a sale recently on books and I just bought like a ton of them. I love audiobooks. It's what I do when I'm not talking to y'all. Listen to audiobooks while I work. Because I used to watch movies and stuff, but it always had to be movies I'd seen like a million times before, and I'm okay with that. But like, I get distracted sometimes by moving pictures. So sometimes it made it hard to concentrate on what I was doing. You're just joining us. What I've been using to cut out my vinyl applique, which is what I'm doing, besides these little tiny scissors, is an 11 blade scalpel. It's medical grade. They're sterile. They don't have to be, but I find it less expensive than having to buy X-Acto blades. So that's what I use to cut out all my stuff. You know, folks sometimes get really into what materials or what items people are using to do their work, and I always like to share that because it's not a secret. I don't like it when people treat just, you know, basic practical information as some kind of deep dark secret. It's not. If you ever want to know where I get things that are in the videos, feel free to ask, because I will tell you. I know sometimes people act like it's a big secret, again, but it is not. Jedi, what kind of cookbooks did you buy? Anything super cool? I like having people to talk to in the chat. So if you're watching, feel free to join us. Sometimes it gets a little lonely doing all this. Here, Raven, you're ridiculous. She's mashed into my armpit right now, which, I mean, I guess. Alright, there's Dragon Body. Get his little toes taken care of here in a minute, but let's get the head part on here, and then you'll work on these big, beautiful wings, which I have transparent green vinyl to go with, to kind of, sort of mimic the membranes between the dragon's wings. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, oh, that sounds cool. Jedi is going to be making some East Asian dessert. That sounds delicious. I do love so much Asian food. Like, the whole continent, really. We do okonomiyaki night with the family, so that's always fun. Make a pretty good okonomiyaki. We do the cabbage style, not the noodle style. And it's really delicious. We put smoked salmon on ours because I'm allergic to shrimp. But it's really, really good. I also use chickpea flour instead of regular flour. Just one of those little things. So, little head here, this is a very small piece, so it's going to take me a second to get it cut out. Has a bunch of spikes on it too, so what I'm going to try and do, I think I'm just going to make one big one, because I can't do the feathering really. I'm going to do 2 spikes. I like okonomiyaki. It's really fun to say, but it's also delicious. There's 2 different styles that I know of. I'm sure there's like a million more that I don't. But there's kind of, this has like a noodle base. It's like a savory pancake kind of thing. And then there's a kind that has like cabbage base. That's the kind I make with the cabbage. It's really good. Whole family comes over and we have just really good food night. Italian desserts are good. Should definitely do that. If I'm not careful, I'm going to make myself hungry while I'm doing this, which would not be nice. Alright, so that came out a little bit sharper than I wanted to on the jaw. Just kind of blunt that a little bit. Not that anyone actually knows what dragon anatomy looks like, because they're fake, but it's really just me wanting to do what I think is more aesthetically pleasing. This is a very small bit, so kind of talk less. I love okonomiyaki. It's delicious. You can do so much with it too, like, there we go. Okay, let's get these spikes on the back. Okay. This is a complicated bit, so again, talk a little less. Faces are always difficult unless you're using like embroidery. Yeah, I just pulled that off there. I'm gonna have to redo that. Oops. See what I meant? There's supposed to be spikes sticking off the back here, and I pulled too hard, and it just came right off. So, we'll just do it again. Happy little accidents, I guess. But, now I know how to do it. Just a little bit better. can't edit that out, really, since I'm talking to y'all live. You just get to see me cut it twice. I used to get super upset when I'd make mistakes like that, because I thought I should be better about that. But, like, who doesn't make mistakes when they're doing things? It's not rational to expect myself to cut everything right the first time, every time. It's a bit silly, really, when you think about it. I like the head to be just slightly different here. Of course, I have anxiety, and common sense and reality don't necessarily enter into the thing. True facts. Okay, so we're gonna change up these spikes just a hair, because I figured out they pull off too easy.
Mommy.
I am cutting right now. You need to be careful. What? Yes, dear.
What cut?
Oh, you got a spider. Excellent.
I got a tarantula.
I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank goodness it didn't bite me like what happened last time.
I know, that's very annoying. Alright, let's try this again.
Oh wait, are you streaming?
Yes, I am.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
It's alright, I'm not upset.
I bet
Everyone in the stream knows now that you caught a tarantula in Animal Crossing. Congratulations.
I bet you they also saw me in Animal Crossing.
Maybe. I love you.
I love you too. Hey Totoro.
My son has caught a tarantula in Animal Crossing, everyone. Please clap. Alright. There, that's gonna be better. But sometimes when I mess up, I find a way I like it better, doing things better. So, you know, we can go with that. There we go. Yeah. I've done a lot of miscuts and stuff like that over the years. No matter how long I've been doing this. Which, you know, isn't as long as a lot of other people, to be sure, but... And honestly, a lot of times, if I find I've mucked something up really bad, it's usually because I need to change the cutting design just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's get that eyeball slot out of there before I forget. There. Excellent. Okay. So our weird little looking bit there now has a dragon face on it, which is cool. Put that over there. Okay, let's cut some wings. I'm going to use one of these because I've already cut the head off and I don't need that for this part. Trying to be as economical as possible with my printing use here. There we go. Okay. So, we're directional here. Yeah, I think that'll work this way. Okay, so what? I'm not exactly sure on this particular piece of clip art exactly what they were going for, so I'm gonna take a pen here for a minute and draw in what I want it to be, the way that I think makes sense. Because there's a weird shape thing happening here, and I'm not sure about it. So we're kind of going to do like that. Like I've said before, in a lot of these, drawings are different than what you're going to be cutting out. So sometimes you have to be able to play around with it just a little bit. Not necessarily for realism's sake, but just because it makes cutting out all of this so much easier. If you can figure out better lines to use. So what I'm going to do, the bone structure here on this particular dragon is a little bit different. Hey Kiddo is a little bit different than a lot of the dragons I've used in other pieces. So the non-membrane pieces, the connective tissue between the membranes is much thicker, which I think is going to look nice, but we'll see. And then we'll use this, which is a clear green, as the wing membrane. What is that? That's just an extra bit. Okay. Sometimes I need to remember to get my bags out ahead of time so that I don't lose pieces while I'm doing this, because the table will eat them. There is still a cat in my lap. Just FYI for everyone watching. She's still here. But that's why she's being quiet. It's because she's still here. So a lot of this part can also be taken in on the stitching part. So I can also make lines and the like while I'm doing actual sew down of the piece. It's a really cool green, and I got into using the clear vinyl on dragon wings when I found it because it's such a cool color, but it's transparent. And I know that, like, okay, so I'm talking about, like, what actually dragon wings are like is kind of silly, but I think that they would be more transparent. I'm so glad you like the green. So a lot of times when folks message me for their commissions, I can get a whole wide range of really cool ideas. And that's my job, is to bring them to life. And it always is like a super fun creative process for me. Sometimes people get like concerned that they're telling me too much or they're too excited about something, and I'm like, there's no such thing, really. When people commission things, it's something that they obviously love a lot, and I love listening to people be excited about the thing, you know, the thing that they really enjoy. It makes me happy to bring something to life that they really enjoyed for their lives. Whether it's, you know, books or music or whatever. Their dogs, their cats. This one really great thing that they saw one time. I really love to do, like, anybody who really digs rocks. Like, I think that would be a really fun challenge. Like, please make me a bag of sedimentary rocks. That would be cool. Okay, that is done. I think I've only done one that was kind of like sci-fi computer-ish a while ago. It was like a butterfly tracing for a circuit board. That one was really fun. I would really like to do something else like that again. I think that would be neat. Buddy, not a bag out of rocks. Like a bag that would look like rocks. No, I could not make a bag out of rocks. Maybe stones, like shiny, sparkly, Schwarzschild crystals or something. But definitely not out of rocks. Oh, bud. My kid is hanging out in the chat room. In case you're wondering who I'm being very familiar with, that is the child I gave birth to. He likes to hang out in the chat room. Which is fine, as long as he behaves himself. Because his father is the moderator. Which you don't get often in a lot of chat rooms. Oh, man. No, I don't think I want to end up like with mesothelioma for making a bag. Oh, that's a bit too far for me. Alright, let's try and get this out of here. Alright, so this is wing 1, the really big one that's going to be prominent. I am going to cut out the background wing because it would look kind of strange if you didn't see any part of the wing for the other side. Yeah, we'll have to clean these up a little bit. I do a bit of cleanup work after the streams just so that the edges where the backing material has been cut away is not showing. And that's part that I don't usually do because it's just really dull as paint when we're on stream. But if you're trying to do work like this and you've noticed that your edges aren't exactly clean, you can just trim off Hey buddy, you can hang them up in your house. They don't have to go in the art museum. I don't think you can sell them, but maybe you can, I don't know. There's free Animal Crossing tips in the stream, folks. So you just get pretty artwork for your house, kiddo. You don't have to do anything with them. You can hang them up in your house on the walls. Yeah. They're just pretty things to look at. Most of them are reproductions of real paintings. And the real ones you hang up in your museum. Join us today for sewing and Animal Crossing chat. I'm more than happy to discuss either. Y'all are probably here for the sewing. That's alright. I'm just talking about cooking and Animal Crossing and sewing and cutting out dragon's wings. It's a varied platform of many different discussions. Alright. This kind of piece here. Jedi, there's a fox that comes to your island with a really shady ship. And the fox will let you pick out art pieces. And you've got a 50-50 chance that they're real art pieces that you can hang in your museum, or that they're fake and you can put them in your house. So there is the mostly skeletal structure, for lack of a better word. I do pick the dragon designs. I show them to the clients beforehand, obviously, but I pick the artistic representations that I use in the pieces once the client tells me what they want. So somebody will say, I want a bag with flowers on it. If they don't have a strict feeling on any particular flowers, then I will pick out the flowers. And if they say they want, I don't know, a dahlia or something, then I will pick out the design of the dahlia. And if they like it, I'll go with that. And if not, well, just pick something else out. Okay, so one wing is done. Let's get that second one. No, I gotta use a new one for this. So this one, as you can see, is kind of more dart shaped going off to the side. Excuse me. It's more dart shaped going off to the side. So I'm gonna have to try and play with this one a little bit to get the right shape so then it will come through in the picture. So we've got one wing folded and one wing up for just something a little more dramatic looking. Who knows how dragons would actually carry their wings, but we'll go with it. I always loved dragons when I was a kid. I love doing the dragon bags so much, especially the ones with the books. Those are so much fun. I've done quite a few of those, and they are really some of my favorites. Alright, let's get this taped. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick before I start cutting is I'm going to draw lines to go through the places that are actually covered in the picture, just so that I can have something of a guide before I just start hacking away here. And I don't technically have to put all the pieces connecting through. However, I think I can get more depth in the piece rather than cutting off like these little bits and these little bits and that. I technically don't have to because nobody's going to see these parts, but I like the depth that it gives when the piece comes together. Like I said, it's a lot like a puzzle. Kind of have all these little bits and parts and they come together eventually. And it looks really cool. At least I think it does. So when I go on vacation, no, buddy, you can't give them to your villagers. You can put it up in your house. Had to make myself a carry-on bag for when I go on vacation, which, again, probably not going to stop talking about for a little bit because I'm super excited about it. So, yeah, okay. I need a break. So bad. The cool thing about doing this like this is that I don't have to be super precise about the lines that are going through the middle that are going to be covered up, which is nice. Not as precise as I would have to be for like a different kind of thing here. Okay, that's good. Look at this. I don't know where my brain went on that last bit, but that's alright. It's probably already on vacation. Okay, cool. Don't wanna. Okay. So I'm gonna change this line mark up just a hair here while I'm doing this. There we go. Okay, I don't think I cut anything too badly there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna tape a little bit on the end and on this end, and then I'll make a couple more lines here. So Bear with me while I kind of mumble talk here for a minute, just because I'm trying to concentrate on this particular thing. Okay. Yeah. There we go. I wanted to put music on the stream at one point, but like, I'm so worried about the DMCA thing that I don't want to step on anyone's music toes. Excuse me. Gonna do a cough drop here so I don't keep doing that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Goodness gracious. Now that I'm done doing whatever that was, get back to work here. And we've got a couple more pieces left to do on the wing. So, that one's gonna come off. Remembering how you cut what is a big thing of how not to accidentally cut pieces off and redo the piece. Done it before, not very much fun. So for like detailed pieces like this, I try to be very observant on what I'm cutting and where, so that I'm removing the right pieces and preserving the right pieces. There we go. There we go. I like the nice, long, elegant lines of dragon wings. Always so pretty. There we go. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Even up some of this. Make some prettier lines. There. That's nice. Okay. So there's the second wing. These are all scrap pieces that I will use in other projects at some point in time. Now I will get to the wings themselves. So as you can see, this is a completely clear product. I don't use them that often. I don't care for them in construction, although I certainly can use them in construction. Just because it's kind of harder to work with them on a large scale basis, and you have to use hair dryers to turn your bags, and that's just not very much fun. Some vinyls require a little more finesse than others to get the bag to turn without giant wrinkles in it, which is, as you can imagine, kind of a pain in the rear. So what I'm going to do right now is cut out the wing membranes. So when the wings are all folded up in most drawings and the like, they will be different shades in the folds. I'm kind of limited on that because I can't do that kind of thing with vinyl. Or if it's possible, I have no idea how they do it. It's possible that somebody out there has figured out how to layer different shades or whatever. But I have not. So what I'm doing is kind of freehand cutting this out so that the wing lays the way I want it to, and not all the way that the drawing shows it. There we go. These are plastic clips and they're pretty much essential. Okay, kiddo. Don't let your computer die. It's not good for the battery. I'll just cut this. Some vinyls are more finicky than others, is what I was saying before. And that's why I don't always like to use them in projects. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here. Yeah, that's what I thought happened. Okay. What I'm gonna do is cut out this middle bit here to have a little more defined spines on the wing.
I'm getting a drink. Do you want one?
I'm fine, but thank you for asking.
I wonder if Chris wants one.
I don't know, sweetheart. Kind of itchy nose thing happening here too. I'm messed tonight. Okay, so there's this wing. I'm gonna put this off to the side. Let's get this big wing taken care of. All right, this one's good. So I'm just gonna kind of cut out a general shape. And detail it down once I get things taped down, because sometimes it takes a minute to finagle those. You all will excuse me for just 1 second. Oh goodness, allergies acting up or something, I don't know. All right, so there's our dragon. I've already cut out this one already. It's a cauldron. And it's kind of like a black glittery material. It's not really a flat black, but you've really got to look at it to see the sparkles in it, which is really cool. Okay. Next up, we're going to do some of the bigger pieces for the back. This is going to be like a little slip pocket in the back. So what I've got here, the theme of the story was supposed to be like princess that doesn't want to be a traditional princess, which I agree with. So what I'm going to do here is cut out the sword, and then we're going to cut out the tiara, and then we're going to cut it. So it looks like it is breaking, which is fun. Because who needs to be a plain old princess, really? We could have a sword, make magic, cook poisons, etc. Okay, it probably doesn't get that graphic because it's like a young adult book, but maybe it does, I don't know. So, sword. On things like this, where it has like different kind of materials on the blade and the handle, I'll usually put different stitching on it so that I can differentiate between the pommel and the hilt and the blade itself. And that's a really cool way that you can add texture to a piece without having to use a bunch of different materials. Straight lines are such a pain. Just generally speaking, because everyone knows what a straight line looks like everyone knows what a circle looks like. Both of those are very, very difficult to get correct when you're doing work like this. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off right here. All of like the big enough excess bits kind of all get put into my scrap bin. So like when I do pieces that have little tiny pieces that I need to cut out, I can cut it off of the scraps of something else, which is more common than you think. Alright, I'm going to tape this blade down on this side. Kiddo, you are treading a line right now and I need you to not. So when you're doing the super straight lines and curves like a circle, taking your time and going slow is super important. Circles being sewn down are just as much of a problem as when you have to cut them out. So I'll do it, like if somebody wants a whole bag of bubbles or something like that, which I haven't had requested yet, but I really would like to. Going slowly and taking your time to turn everything as you go is probably the best advice I have for doing work like that. I know that folks are always looking for like a better way of doing things or a trick or a tip, and a lot of times it's just go slow, take your time, and don't stress out about it, because it's easy to stress out about stuff. Oh, Goose is howling. I've done a mermaid bag, and I've done one of octopus recently. Well, tentacles and bubbles, which was really fun. That's one of my clients that has been a repeat customer for over a year now. I did a bag like that, and it was really fun. But I just think like bubbles would be really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up just a hair before I throw it into the pieces bag. Things that I need to get out of the way. There we go. Yes, excellent. Okay, just 1 second. I will continue narrating once I've done that. Alright, sword. Okay, if I could do this one in gold. Didn't go too nuts on the sparkles on this one, just because sometimes it can be a bit much. Although it would be cool to do a bag with like just outrageously sparkly. The last one I just did, the Sakura Blossom bag, was close, but it was more shiny than it was glittery, which is also fun to do. Problem sometimes is that it can be a little overwhelming if you do too much of it. Too much of a good thing, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to start on this one because this is one of the more complicated bits. I'm going to move this because I'm always, sometimes if I leave the main roll while I'm working, I cut up parts that I don't mean to. So that can be a bit of a problem. Alright, we got more for the scrap bin. Alright. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Cats. I believe that was Goose startling Tribble. Because he's a bit of a turd. He likes to play, and all the other cats are about a decade older than him, so it doesn't always work out well. and they get really loud about it. He doesn't hurt the other cats, but Goose is barely 2, and all of our other cats are definitely seniors. Like, I think the Totoro is the youngest. And Tribble's the oldest. And then there's the baby, which is Goose. Like I said, he's barely 2. Tribble is 14. So, they don't always think it's super cool. Yeah, I'm sorry, it was super loud. Tribble gets really dramatic when Goose tries to play and she doesn't want to. Not as loud as Raven, though. Raven is louder than Tribble. Raven and Sparrow, her sister, are, jeez Louise, 11? Yeah. So they're not really in the mood for any of this either. But like I said, nobody's hurt. It's just loud and overly dramatic. So cutting out filigree like this is definitely a challenge, although this is definitely not the most difficult filigree I've ever done. That was, I think, the library goth bag. That was definitely the most complicated thing I've ever done. I couldn't even do it on camera because it was so complicated. That was one of those ones that required every inch of my little gray cells to get done. Hope I didn't blow out anyone's speakers or eardrums with my cats being ridiculous. So the reason I'm doing the inside first on this is once I start doing the big outside bits, it's going to make this filigree in the middle so much more difficult. So I like to do the inside bits first. That way the outside is still firmly in place so the piece doesn't move around while I'm doing this. In case you were wondering about the order in which I am cutting these things out, which is a perfectly valid question. But after this long, I've kind of figured out that it makes it so much more easy if I do this bit and then do the big outside outline. Save the easy bit for last, because this is not the easy bit. Okay. So what I've got left here is these parts. I know, I can hear you saying, but Alicia, you said you were going to break the crown and it's clearly in one piece. Well, that's because I'm going to cut it after I'm done. But it's still important to do it the right way the first time, because you never want it to look like you just kind of cut 2 pieces out of the same area and then not have a matching part on the side. Because when something breaks, it doesn't break evenly, does it? Of course not. So, yeah, the reason I tape things so much is because things do move while you cut them. And otherwise, I will not have nice straight lines. I will have bits and pieces that have kind of folded up or slid around or not done what I wanted them to do. So that's why it's important to tape. At least when you're doing this stuff by hand. Which I am. And I've said before, I do have one of the cutting machines. My problem is it's limited in what kind of designs it could do and the way that it does it. So what I just did before with the dragon, we'll take that for example, where I had to cut out the little fiddly bits and all the bits inside and all that, and I changed the line work. One of those cutting machines won't do that. They'll just do the outlines, which is not helpful for what I want it to do. So I use it sometimes. It's a nice thing to have. But it doesn't really do everything I need it to do. So that's why you watch me do work like this. Because this is the kind of work hang on, I gotta peel this up and see if I cut this certain part or not. Okay, yes, I did. All right, so we're gonna do the outline now. And I don't want anyone watching who wants to do work like this to think that it's all this simple, because it's not. I have spent a lot of hours cutting things out by hand to be able to do it this quickly. And that's just part of the process of learning, is that you learn how to do it more efficiently and more quickly. So don't feel bad if you're starting out and this is difficult, because it is, and you'll get better at it as you go. And if you're just saying nuts to that, I'll just put it through the cutting machine. You do you. Perfectly valid. Tons of people do. There's nothing more inherently better about the way I'm doing things. I just like the results better. That's really all there is to it. I have more control over the process, and I can cut things differently than a machine would when it comes to, you know, bits that I don't like, or part of an image that I don't care for, or whatever. It's just me being picky, really. All right, that is a tiara, which is super cute. Okay, so again, we're just going to do the big broad cutout, and then I'll get to the fiddly bits as I'm going along here. Mainly because I don't want to have to mess around with cutting around a whole bunch of material. It's much easier to get the details out when you're doing this in smaller bits. So again, just things I've learned as I've been doing this. There's a lot of little turns here, so I'm trying to concentrate, which means my mouth and my brain don't necessarily work at the same time. Surprise! Anybody who watches the streams know that I can't always talk and think at the same time. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it stops me from saying thoughtless things when I'm thinking. I don't know. Maybe I only have so much processing power, which is probably more likely. There we go. Yeah, this is one of my materials that I know I can rip, and it's not gonna, like, make a big deal about it. Alright. Excellent. Oh, I didn't cut off the circle on this side. Oh, hang on. Uh-oh. I gotta find the right piece. So what I've just noticed is I am missing one of the filigrees that I did not cut out on one side. So what I'm gonna do here is find the piece I just ripped off. There we go. Fell on the floor. So I'm gonna take this piece because I'd covered this area with a piece of tape. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna line this back up and I'm gonna cut out the piece that I forgot to cut on the other side, which can be tricky. But what I'm going to do is finish removing this, and I'm going to use this other piece as like my keystone here and line up the piece again. Even though I took it off, I can line it back up. So I'm going to line this whole thing back up. I'm going to tape it back down, and then I'm going to cut the piece that I forgot. Which is okay, because it's not as hard to fix as you think. Going to make sure that my corners and everything else are all lined up so that I'm not cutting in the wrong area. That's the biggest risk of doing this. If you forgot something, if one piece was left out, the biggest risk you have is the piece isn't lined up properly and you end up cutting something you shouldn't, or cutting it uneven. But trust me, I'm a professional. Okay, I'm not really a professional, but I'm kind of okay at this. There we go. Now we have two matching sides. Yeah, so I try not to rip the pieces up completely when I take off the main cover piece. Just in cases like that, where I've forgotten something and it becomes necessary to reuse it the exact same way. So, tips and tricks. If you forget something, you can always do it again. So, if you'll notice, there's like little hairs sticking off here. Those will be trimmed off later, or I burn them off, whichever, because fire is always an option. Well, for most things regarding what I do, not like generally speaking. Don't burn things you're not supposed to. Really, mostly on vinyl, you're melting things more than anything else. Alright, I'll get that. So what are you all up to tonight? Anything interesting? Other than listening to me ramble, which I appreciate. I'm glad you're all here. Hello to everyone that watches these after I record them. Glad you're all here too. Alright, so these are little fiddly pieces. Yet again, talking and thinking don't always work for me. These are the parts I wish I had music a little bit, just so y'all had something more interesting to listen to, other than my well pump going, which is what that noise is. And which playing Oracle? Alright. There we go. Okay. I need to get better about being able to think and cut these things out and talk at the same time. So y'all don't have to just listen to the sound of silence. Speaking of sound of silence, I really liked the Disturbed version of that. As much as I didn't want to. It's very good. Alright. Getting there. Takes a while to do the filigree cuts. They are fiddly. But I think it's worth it. And I don't mind doing them. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so we got a couple more pieces to go here on the tiara. And then I'm going to cut it up so it looks busted. Tried this one time without actually cutting everything out correctly, so it all matched before I cut it up. Results were not good. So I still do it all the right way, even though I'm going to be cutting it up. Because I did not like the results before. I tried to do it a different way. You do this enough times, a lot of times you can get to the point where you kind of can make corrections on the fly while you're doing this. Sorry, my voice is going for some reason. Why? Because I've been talking for about an hour. Funny that. Alright. There we go. Excellent, excellent. So, I'm always so amazed by the things people come up with when they want a bag. It's always really cool. And surprisingly enough, I haven't really had too many that I've had to say no to. On occasion I have, but nothing really shocking. The literary bags especially are usually things where I'm like, oh, well, if somebody liked this enough for me to make a bag out of it, maybe I should read this. And I find new books for me, which is cool. Awesome. Okay, 2 more bits over here. And we'll be done with the tiara. Then I'm gonna break it with scissors, not fire, because that really would ruin my work. And we'll do some of the cleanup. Alright. Excellent. So, there's a tiara. Now, let's make some jagged edges and bust it. So, there is that. But Alicia, you say, you just want all that work. Why would you cut it up? Because it looks cool, is the answer. The dragon does not wear the tiara. The sword is breaking the tiara. Because who's life of princess when you can wield a sword and do magic and be friends with dragons? There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just adding up some rough edges here to the break points. So it's not going to be completely something that you could put back together if you wanted to. However, it is going to look cool. So, sword, broken tiara. So I'm going to have to kind of push this up towards the middle a little bit because this is a slip pocket that's going to go on the back and there's zippers already on the back. So, and this is the bottom part right here. So, going to kind of have this tiara broken like this across the pocket. There'll be magnetic closures to keep it shut. But that is that. I gotta get this part here. This one's a crossbody bag. It's fairly sizable. I don't know, Jedi. I haven't read this book, but it sounds cool. I think it's more the idea that the princess doesn't want to be a princess. She wants to be more functionally useful than decorative. Because, frankly, a lot of fairy tale princesses end up being decorative. So, I have to cut out cats. Different colored cats, but not all black cats. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these pieces into my bag, so again, I do not lose them. Because that happens way too often. So, cats. Got a couple sheets of these. They're just kind of generic outline of cats. What I'm going to do is going to make a few different colors of them. I don't think I'm putting any gems on the tiara. I don't know. Oracle, do you want gems on your tiara? I can put gems on the tiara, but I hadn't planned on it. More of a significant representation, but if Oracle would like gems on her tiara, she can certainly have them. Alright, let's cut out some cats. So I'm going to use this one, which is just such a fun vinyl. I haven't gotten to do anything super wild with it, but it's definitely like that kind of orange tabby stripe. So I've used it for quite a few things, like bark for trees and tiger striped cats. So let's make a tiger striped cat. I'm going to go with more the impression of cats than the actual faces of cats because it's such a small scale. And learning to work with what works in the scale that you're in is important. Maybe if I had an embroidery machine I could do that, but maybe not because it's still really small. So I'm gonna put some little... And silhouettes work if you're detailed enough and that people can understand what they are. And I think this will come out just fine. Treble is always judging. She likes to sit on your lap and stare at you. She's such a rotten cat. But a delight at the same time. Like most cats. I think I needed to change my blade. The last cut was a little rough. Gonna have to be careful when I'm cutting it out. So let's change that blade. As you can see, this is like sterile packaging. It really is medical grade scalpels. However, I have no use for them other than my work. Don't ever get to test that out. My thread container is now a sharps container for my needles and blades. I could probably make a poster of Triple, yes. I thought about doing like posters for people that don't really like the bag thing, because not everybody does. And that's okay. But I thought about being able to do like wall hangings or something. Just have to figure out how to back it. Because otherwise you see the entire back side of the piece. Which is cool, but not exactly neat. Still messing around with the idea of getting an embroidery machine. I don't know. I think I found my lane. I just don't know if an embroidery machine would help. I lean towards yes a lot, but who knows? Could just be an extra piece of equipment. Or I end up with an entire wardrobe of embroidered jeans. Because I really would do that. Cat. See? Just a cute little cat. I love making stuff like this. It makes me so happy. Okay, so we have a tiger striped cat. Let's do a gray cat. It's kind of a silvery color, but heck, we're gonna go with magic cats. Oh, embroidery machines are obscenely expensive. I would not put that on my Amazon wish list. They are so pricey. I would feel terrible if somebody actually bought me one. Just because they're really expensive. Like, the model that I need, they pretty much start at like $1,000. And I don't think that I have any super wealthy benefactors. If I do, I mean, hey howdy, welcome, glad to see ya. But I don't think I do. Oh, for those heady days of yore when rich people would pretty much just kind of like buy artists and keep them around to do things for them. That would be cool. I think that's back when they had ornamental hermits too. Alright, so we've got a gray cat. I don't know if I'm going to cut out the entirety of all of the little guys here, but hey, y'all, I'm still streaming. Yeah, like, I seriously love embroidered jeans, and I would do that a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it would be really cool. way to use a machine. So I'm gonna kind of poke the head in just a little bit here, just to kind of define a face a little bit better than what it was before. Yeah, I know. I mean, like, it's just a cool thought, right? Having a patron would probably be way more stress than it was worth. But it's cool to think that somebody would just kind of just hire you in perpetuity to make art. I love little kitties. They're making me very happy. Alright. Happy little kitties. There's another little kitty. We've got a silver one and a tiger striped one. Let's do a white cat. Client very specifically said no black cats. So I will refrain from making a black cat. Apparently that was not in the story. Let's do, I really want to do one of these standing up cats, so I'm going to do that one. I'm going to take out the ones I've already done. Okay. There we go, cat. So I'm doing this one that's kind of standing up a little bit. I like to do them in different poses, so they're not all just kind of static and it doesn't look like I've just repeated the same cat over and over again. I looked at that and I didn't like the way it turned out. Tried this before. You live and learn from the mistakes, right? I'm gonna make this one a little chunkier than the other ones. Little lines are the ones that always get me in trouble, so I have to try and concentrate on that one a little bit. There we go. So cute. Oracle, are you still around? Because I have a question about cats. Maybe not. Alright, I'll just message you later. I don't know if I'm ready to actually live in the time where they did have patrons, actually. A lot of tuberculosis back then. Not a lot of hand washing. Seems problematic. Alright. Getting there, getting there, getting there. This little white kitty is standing up. Alright. There. Oh, he's cute. Get this little bit off here. Aww. Alright, so we have Tabby is silver and a white. I suppose I could make a piebald cat. Yeah, the whole, like, having chronic illnesses would not be great in ye golden days. I mean, I suppose if you were a perfectly healthy, wealthy person, probably works, right? But maybe not so much for everyone else. I always found the time travel question incredibly weird because, like, what point would it be cool for me to go back in time, right? And not be immediately married off or impregnated. Just doesn't have much appeal when you stop and think about it, really. Or, you know, die from my chronic conditions. Time travel is depressing if you think about it too long. Alright. Okay, we're gonna make this one a piebald cat, so it's gonna be a little more layering. Yeah, our printed books. Yeah. And when I go back in time, can I get an education? Probably not. Yet. Answer is no. I think I'd like to go see the future, maybe. I don't know. The whole thing seems a bit depressing. Maybe another dimension. Something with dragons. Magic. And fairies. Maybe not fairies. They seem a little dodgy. Okay. So this is one of the materials that I just used fire on so that it melts the little extra pieces. And it makes it easier to cut them off too without getting stuck in the scissor blades or anything. Fire fixes most things. You just gotta be careful with it. Otherwise, I melt what I've already done. It does have an aroma, but y'all can't smell it, so it works. There we go. Getting there. Alright. Cutting out sweet little kitties. Alright, we're going to put the spots on the piebald, which means I'm going to cut off some of this black material. While Oracle said no black cats, did not say no piebald cats. So, we're going to make a spotty cat. Yeah, that is unfortunately relevant, Jedi. Alright, I'm gonna put a spot on him. Aw, that's cute. I love doing stuff like this. Unless someone specifically tells me no. I kinda do my thing. So we're gonna make this one a little bit like a comma. Oh, I could make a semicolon. Maybe I won't make that one like a comma. I don't know, it's kind of cute though. Semicolon cat. Okay, that's probably a bit much. Alright. Settle down, Alicia. Alright. Kind of less squared off there. Alright, let's make this more like a spot and less like a comma. Aww. It's always fun taking the briefs for these things. It's really fun with what people actually want versus the ideas I've had. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes I know what they want. Other times, less so. But it's okay. It's part of the process. I'm just gonna put some spotties on him. There we go. Spotty cat. I'm not showing that, tilting that one up at the moment, just because it's gonna scoot the spots right off him. I'll drag it over here in just a second. Alright. I like this line for like fur, trees, and water because it kind of moves. Okay, so let's set this one up a little bit. So we got our little cats. Cats. There we go. Now we got our dragon. So, I'm just going to kind of do a quick representation here. Dragon. And cauldron. Let's see. Keep in mind this will look much more impressive once the wings are on him. Her. This one's a girl dragon. Once the wings are on her. Let's try to figure this out. I think I like the cat sitting kind of near the cauldron. Yeah, that's cute. Yes. Put this one over here. I'm gonna have one of the cats messing with the dragon's tail. Seems like a very cat thing to do, don't you think? I think so. Cats would definitely do that. Okay, so we've got this dragon wing that kind of goes through here. Going to kind of push that there. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just doing a basic rough layout of this because I still have detail work that has to be done, but I kind of want to take a look at how the thing will fit together. Alright, so we're going to have this cat messing with the dragon's tail. Just because that seems like a cat thing. Yeah. I like it. I'll have a different, I mean, the head isn't fully on. And then I'll have the actual green wings here. Oh, it's cute. I like this. Oh, do you like the tail thing, Oracle? I'm glad you're back. Do you want a gem on your tiara? Jedi asked, and I thought it was a good idea. Because otherwise... This one exists, but if you wanted something a little bit plainer, that's cool too. I can make a gem if you would like one. You want a gem? Okay. Stay on the stream, and I'll let you pick it out right now. Okay, I'm just grabbing some materials. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. Okay, I have these two purples. Do you want purple, or do you want something else? Look at this. Decisions. Do you like either one of these, or do you want a different color? This one's definitely more sparkles. This one's definitely more like shimmery gems, kind of. Okay. This one or this one? This is shimmer jam, and this is just like sparkles. It's fine. The shimmery one, this one. Excellent. Okay. Look at that, folks. That is the custom process here at Cut Purse Creations. You watch the stream, you get to pick your own stuff in real time. Okay, so I'm going to take this. We will make a gem off of this side because it's a little lopsided, and that's okay because it's busted. Things don't break evenly. That's actually incredibly handy. So I'm glad you're here, Oracle. Or I would have not put a gem on it. Alright, so I'm gonna cut this a little bit here. I can stitch some faceting into it too, so it looks slightly more like an actual gem. And then we can put it like that. Perfect. Satisfactory, Oracle? Are we good with that one? You can put a second one on top if you like. Let's see how it looks with 2 gems. Well, I can even it out a little bit so it looks slightly better. There we go. Alright, 1 or 2. You can have one up here and one down here. Or I can just have one in the middle. I gotta admit, this kind of looks like a place a gem would go on an actual tiara. Whew. Okay. I think there 2. Okay, 2 gems it is. Thank you, Oracle. I will get all of this cleaned up. And tomorrow I will start sewing a bunch of this stuff down once I get everything interfaced. So that is going to be it for the stream tonight. I'm glad everyone was here, especially Oracle, because you got to pick your gems right now. And you got to see all of the little bits and pieces and approve of Cat playing with Dragontail. So that is a fun thing that happened today. I am glad you have all joined me. And I will see everyone tomorrow.